So, let's talk about something we all deal with: emotions that just seem to stick around no matter what we do. Today, we're going to dive into some really profound wisdom from the original teachings of the Buddha to understand why that happens and, more importantly, how to finally let that emotional weight go.
I mean, have you ever wondered about this? Why do those same feelings of frustration or anxiety or just sadness keep popping back up? You think you've dealt with it, and then boom, there it is again. It can really feel like you're stuck on a hamster wheel.
Well, the answer is actually pretty straightforward. It's because our emotions, especially the heavy ones, don't just evaporate. They leave something behind. They build up layer by layer, creating this tangled knot of energy right in the center of our being, in our chest. So let's talk about this hidden baggage. What is it really? We're going to break down what's actually going on inside of us when these feelings start to pile up. There's this incredible metaphor from the original teachings that puts it perfectly. The mind is like water. And what does water do? It always flows downhill, to the lowest point, right? Well, our minds do the same thing. They naturally drift towards these lower, unskillful, negative states. It just becomes a habit. The whole practice is about learning to gently guide the mind back uphill. Now, this pileup of emotion isn't just one big, messy blob. No, it's actually a really specific process, and it leaves behind three very distinct kinds of residue. If you can understand these three, you got the key to unlocking the whole thing. Okay, so the first one is called asava. The best way to think about this is like emotional fermentation. You know how after a really intense argument, even hours later, you still feel that charge, that potent, lingering aftertaste? That's asava. It's the residue that continues to ferment inside you long after the event is over. Then you've got anusaya. These are your latent habits. Think of them as these deep, dormant emotional patterns just waiting under the surface. This is why a totally innocent comment can sometimes trigger a massive overreaction. It's not about the comment, not really. It's because it just poked one of these sleeping tendencies. And the third one is samyojana. These are the mental fetters. These are the active chains that literally bind your awareness to certain stories, certain emotions. This is what keeps you stuck in that loop, replaying things over and over in your head, hooked into the same old reaction. So you have these three residues building up inside. What does that actually do to us? Well, the source material has another amazing analogy for this. Let's look at how our emotions literally pickle us. The idea is just so simple and powerful. Imagine you put a cucumber in a jar of salty brine. What happens? Over time, it becomes a pickle, right? It takes on the flavor of what it's soaking in. Our mind is exactly the same. If it's constantly steeping in anger, our whole being starts to take on the flavor of anger. But here's the good news. Your mind doesn't want to just sit there and hold on to all this pressure. It has a natural, built-in way to release this stuff. It's actually trying to heal itself. And how does it release this pressure? This is the crucial part. It does it through your thoughts. Yeah, all those nagging, repetitive, intrusive thoughts, they aren't the problem. They're actually the symptom. They're the sign that your mind is trying to vent this old, stored emotional energy. And this, right here, leads us to what we could call the great misunderstanding, the fundamental mistake that almost all of us make, which is precisely what keeps us trapped. So, look at this. On the left, that's our impulse, right? A negative thought comes up, and we immediately think, this is bad, this is a problem, I have to fight it, I have to stop it. But the reality, on the right, is the total opposite. That thought is the mind's release valve. It's not the problem, it's the beginning of the solution. It's a release that we have to allow. Trying to fight or suppress these thoughts, it's like trying to put a cork in an active volcano. You might stop the smoke for a second, but all you're doing is building up more and more pressure underneath. You're trapping the very energy that's desperately trying to get out. Okay, so if fighting is the wrong move, what do we do instead? How do we work with this process instead of against it? Let's get really practical. Here are 5 steps to true emotional release, straight from this ancient wisdom. All right, let's walk through this. It's simpler than you might think. Step 1, make a decision. Don't desire for the emotion to stop. Step 2, don't do anything to prevent it from coming up. Just let it be. Now, step 3 is the absolute game changer. Don't continue this story. Don't add your commentary, don't analyze it, just don't get involved.
Then, step 4, simply, patiently watch the raw feeling itself. And finally, step 5, you just see it. You see it arise, you see it stay for a bit, and you see it pass away. All by itself. You don't have to do a thing. You see how this just flips everything on its head? The goal is no longer to be an active warrior trying to kill your emotions. The goal is to become a patient, curious scientist, just observing them. You're not trying to make them disappear. You're just creating the space to see them disappear, all on their own. And that's really what it all comes down to. This is about changing your entire relationship with your own inner world. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What becomes possible in your life when you finally, truly stop fighting a war against your own mind?